Chapter 3. The Art of Preparing Your Presentation. How do I know if what I am preparing is what my audience wants to hear? By Ray Hall, Ph.D. Preparing a presentation is one of the most difficult aspects of public presentations. What do I say? How do I inspire the audience to actually listen to me? What if they find me to be a complete bore? What if I look at the audience after 10 minutes into my speech and they are already falling asleep? What if I don't say anything important? Well, asking all of those questions is what most public speakers do while developing their presentation. It is a natural anticipatory response to wondering how an audience will respond to what we say when we are standing on stage before them with a microphone in our hand, waiting to utter the first words of our presentation. As I said in Chapter 1, we tend to feel vulnerable when we are standing before an audience. We wonder whether what we are going to say to them will interest them or bore them. There have been occasions in my professional life when I have given the same presentation 25 times. As I am preparing to give it each time, I revise and revise again. That's right. When I have prepared that same speech for the 26th time and am still revising it, I am doing it for a reason. Each time I present that speech, I watch the audience. There always seems to be times when they appear to be very attentive. They appear to be holding on to every word. And then there may be times during the presentation when they may appear almost disinterested in what I'm saying. I make mental notes of those moments. And if I feel that what I am saying at those points in the presentation is critical to what I am intending to say, then I must be doing something wrong in how I am presenting it. So I study it, make slight changes in the words I have chosen, and how I am delivering the information. Then present it the next time with those adjustments in mind. If the audience appears interested and attentive the next time I reach that critical point in the presentation, then I know that perhaps what I am doing at that critical point is more effective than what I was doing before. How do I prepare a speech so that I know I'm doing it correctly? Okay, let's say that you've been asked by a local organization to give a presentation on a project that you've been working on that will enhance the beauty of the community in which you and those who will be in attendance at the meeting live. The intent of your presentation is to raise funds that will support the project. What you say and how you say it may make or break the fundraising effort. How you prepare your presentation will, of course, determine its content, and you are hoping that the content will convince those in the audience to help finance the upgrade project for the community in which you all live. Piece of cake, right? If everyone loves their community, then all you will need to say is, "Give us money and we'll do great things for you." Wrong. Money is tight, and people must be convinced beyond a doubt that their money will be well spent and the project will do what it is supposed to do, that is, to beautify the community at a reasonable cost. So how do I prepare the presentation? Steve Brown says it this way. He states that the first item on your preparatory agenda is to consider the audience. We have to consider the hard, cold fact that it is the audience who determines whether a speech is good or poor. It is the audience who determines whether what you have said is worthwhile or a waste of time. When we consider the audience, we need to take into account several things, such as A, what is the average age and gender of the audience? B, what is the average educational level of the audience? C, will the audience be hostile, supportive, or neutral? D, what is the attention span of the audience? And E, in the past, has the audience responded positively or negatively to presentations in which financial support has been requested? Those are all fair questions to ask yourself prior to developing your presentation. In other words, your knowledge of the audience will dictate the content and style of your speech. If you don't take the audience into consideration, your presentation may be great in and of itself, but it won't do what you wanted it to do, to be a great fundraiser and to raise money for the community project. When you develop your presentation that has as its purpose raising funds for the beautification project, you will know that money is tight. The economy is tight. Everyone will be aware of that fact. So why not begin your presentation with something like, I am well aware that money is tight. My own budget is tight, but I also know that we love our community, and we want to make it a place that we are all proud of. So I know that together we can all contribute a little to make a big difference. You are speaking in simple terms. You are speaking from the heart, and you are not pretending to be someone else. You are believable. President Clinton won his first election primarily by identifying a big need in the U.S., the U.S. economy, and then applying logic that would solve it. In his campaign headquarters, he had a banner that read, "Keep it simple," and it worked. That is what he used to win his first term as president. He spoke in simple terms that everyone could understand, and that is your job in making a presentation that will raise funds for your community beautification project. Questions to ask yourself when designing your presentation. According to Too Good, there are questions that a presenter needs to ask her or himself when developing a presentation. Those are: 1. Why is what I am saying important? 2. If not, what should I really be saying? 3. What is the point of what I am saying? 4. Am I speaking in a language everyone can understand? 5. Who really cares? Now let's look at the essential elements of a good presentation. What are the essential elements of a good presentation that we should know before we prepare it? I don't suppose I should use the word good here, but rather a great presentation. To me, good refers to average. You want your presentation to be a great one rather than an average one. Too Good refers to 5 key elements that should be kept in mind as you develop your presentation. Those are: 1. A strong start. Make your first statement a dramatic one, not necessarily loud, but dramatic. Our voice carries the drama of our part in any play or in any presentation. As I said earlier, your first statement in your fundraising presentation could be, in a somewhat strong but empathetic voice, something like, I know that money is tight. It's tight in my household, too. But our community is important to us. And together, we can make it one that we can all be proud of. We can all give a little to make a big difference. Wow, I like that first statement. It's not a dramatic one, but it is a strong one. That is the key to a good introductory statement. It needs to be one that will draw the attention of the audience. 2. One theme, one topic. One topic. Stick to a single topic and make it brief. 3. Use good examples. Using good examples to strengthen the logic of your presentation gives it the boost that will make what you are saying stick with the audience. 4. Use conversational language. That's what made President Clinton and President Obama stand out as leaders. President Bush had difficulty choosing words, even pronouncing them correctly, and was ridiculed for that as a result. Keep your language simple and to the point. Use language that everyone will understand. Speak slowly enough to be easily understood, and you will be considered an excellent public speaker. The best advice is to simply talk to your audience as you would a friend. 5. Give a strong ending. A key phrase that you develop can be used to make a strong ending. For example, in point number 1 we just mentioned, the key phrase for the beginning that was used as an example could also be used for a strong ending. Like, we can all give a little to make a big difference. I know we can. A simple phrase said with passion that people will remember can give your presentation the strength to make an impression on your audience. It will give them something that they will remember. Be a creative speech maker. When developing your presentation, be creative. The problem is, as we become mature adults, we tend to become less creative. The most creative beings are young children. Their minds are open to new and creative ideas. They are creative and playful. As adults, we tend to fear making mistakes. As Thomas Edison once said, paraphrased, "I didn't make a mistake. I just found one more of 10,000 ways that don't work." He had a creative mind, and that is one of many reasons he was a great inventor. If we are going to become a great speech maker, we have to be creative. Giving presentations in a creative way will cause our presentations to be remembered. According to Reynolds in his book, Presentation Zen, there are 3 ways in which we can bring about our creative self that can be used when we are developing our presentations. They are: 1, be creative, be a pirate. Inspiration is important. Reynolds asks, where can you find inspiration? Probably not by doing the same old routine or by gossiping with staff in the break room about things that really don't matter. Reynolds says, the enthusiasm of a student is infectious and can energize you. Be careless, be reckless, be a lion, be a pirate. You know, it's important to be free like children. You just need to be reminded of that occasionally. 2, don't force it. Idling or doing nothing is important. Most of us, as Reynolds says, myself included, are obsessed with getting things done. We're afraid to be unproductive. And yet, the big ideas often come to us during our periods of laziness. People need more time away from the direct challenges of work. Sometimes we need solitude and a break for slowing down so that we can see things differently. 3, enthusiasm. Reynolds further stresses, put your love, passion, imagination, and spirit behind what you are developing. Without enthusiasm, there is no creativity. Don't hang out with people who dismiss the idea of enthusiasm. Or worse still, don't hang out with those who try to kill yours. A final word on preparing your presentation is important here. It is imperative that we take into consideration the following items, not only in regard to preparing your presentation, but also in preparing how you will say what you intend to say. Print them indelibly in your mind. They are: 1, your presentation should be relevant to the intent of that specific occasion. 2, your presentation should be simple. 3, it should be to the point and as brief as possible. If you are given 30 minutes for your presentation and you take 20 minutes, the audience will be pleased. If you are given 30 minutes and you take 45 minutes, don't be surprised to see members of your audience beginning to squirm, wishing that you would stop. 4, once you have prepared your speech, cut it, cut it, cut it. You will be surprised how lengthy a speech can become after it is written word for word. A speech written word for word will almost always be considerably longer than you expect it to be if you allow yourself to read it to the audience. On the other hand, never read your speech to your audience. If you do, expect to see a sizable number dozing off after the first 15 minutes. 5, there are questions we should ask ourselves before beginning the preparation of a public presentation. Hindle suggests that we ask the following questions. What is the expected size of the audience? What is the average age of the audience? It is very important to know the average age of the audience to whom you will be speaking, particularly in regard to the language level you will be using. Is the audience already well informed about your subject matter? Has the audience been required to attend, or are they there on a voluntary basis? What do the members of the audience have in common? Are they all from the same academic or occupational field, the same demographic area, with the same interests, and with the same reason for being in attendance? Are there prejudices that the audience may hold that need to be considered in preparing your speech? What is the cultural makeup of the audience? Does everyone in the audience know you, or at least know you by reputation? Be sure to ask even more questions prior to preparing your presentation, and importantly, before you make your presentation, ask more questions of those who invited you to speak. 1, ask about the physical space where you will be speaking. And 2, ask about the makeup of the audience. Otherwise, you may be surprised or even embarrassed as you begin making your presentation. I have found myself speaking at a convention on stage in a large auditorium that could hold 500 people when there were only 11 people in the audience. I came prepared with around 200 handouts, my PowerPoint slides, and required an excellent PA system and handheld microphone. I don't like to stand behind the podium. I could have avoided the stage and the PA system, moved down on the floor level, and asked those in attendance to move closer to me so we could talk. We could have had a nice, intimate conversation instead of a formal stage presentation. This occurred because I forgot to ask about the potential size of the audience. I have also given presentations at conventions on stage in a large auditorium that could hold over 850 people when there was standing room only in the back of the auditorium, chairs filled with people in each of the aisles, even one attendee sitting on stage with me. I didn't have enough handouts, but the stage, spotlight, PA system, and the PowerPoint slides were perfect, and about 1,000 people filled every nook and cranny of the auditorium. The problem that I experienced was that I did not ask questions ahead of time. And if we don't ask questions, we will never know how things will turn out until we walk onto the stage.